This story is about a special world where there are 4 nations and each has its own unique powers. There are airbenders who control the air, firebenders who control fire, waterbenders who control water, and earthbenders who control the earth and soil. Even though these people have incredible powers, they don't always use them for fighting, and the world usually remains peaceful. In this world, there is a special person called the Avatar who has the power to control all 4 elements: air, water, fire, and earth. The balance is crucial for maintaining peace. However, a threat arises as the firebenders want to dominate the world, leading to conflicts and attacks on other benders. Avatar Ong, currently an airbender, becomes the hope to stop this war. Ong is still young, only 12 years old, and he is training with his master to develop his airbending skills. However, Ong doesn't know the truth about being the Avatar until his master reveals it at the right time. With firebenders threatening their territory, Ong learns about his responsibility to complete his training quickly and stop the firebenders' actions. Feeling overwhelmed by this heavy responsibility, Ong confides in his master that he doesn't want to be the Avatar. This decision affects his mood, and to clear his mind, he decides to talk to his pet and go on a visit. Unfortunately, while he's away, a fire attack occurs in his area. The firebenders destroy the airbenders' temple very quickly. Ong's master and all the other airbenders were killed in the attack. Ong was the only one who survived, and he escaped to the city with his pet. But then he got caught in a storm and fell into the water. Just as he was about to drown, something incredible happened. His avatar powers were awakened. A bright light shone from the tattoo on his head. After this, the story jumps ahead 100 years. Suddenly, there's a bright light coming from a snowy mountain, and the mountain explodes. Ong emerges from the mountain. This mountain was in the area of the waterbenders, where a waterbender named Katara was training with her brother. They were frightened by this explosion and found Ong, bringing him to their temple. Meanwhile, Prince Zuko of the Firebenders was on a mission to find the Avatar. He witnessed Ong's emergence from the temple. When Ong regained consciousness in the waterbenders' temple, he explained what had happened, how there was a fire attack in his area, and he ended up in the temple after being caught in a storm. An old lady from the waterbenders talks to Ong and is surprised. She says, "How can this be? The attack you're talking about happened 100 years ago. All the airbenders were killed and their whole generation is gone. Many waterbenders also lost their lives in that war. Katara is the only real waterbender left in our tribe." After chatting more with Ong, the old lady realizes that Ong is an avatar, the last waterbender in the world. Ong's pet is also with him. He stays in the waterbenders' village for a few days and becomes good friends with Katara, who is still learning to control her waterbending powers. Ong, using his wisdom, teaches Katara how to focus her skills, helping her improve. Meanwhile, Zuko, the prince of the firebenders, arrives with his uncle in the waterbenders' village. They are on a mission to capture Avatar Ong. When they ask the villagers to hand over Ong, Katara's brother challenges Zuko to a fight. Zuko, being a trained firebender, easily defeats the brother. Just before Zuko can harm him, Ong steps in and decides to go with them. Ong is taken and put in the ship's jail. Ong, using his airbending skills, easily manages to steal the keys to his prison. He tricks the soldiers, escapes the jail, and visits Zuko's ship. There he finds a book written by Zuko about the Avatar. As he steals the book and flies away, Zuko notices and attacks Ong with fire. Before falling into the water, Katara and her brother, riding on Ong's pet, arrive to save him. Together, they go to the Airbenders' temple, which was completely destroyed. Ong becomes deeply saddened and angered when he sees his master's bones. In this emotional state, the power of the Avatar awakens again. Despite the difficulty of controlling his emotions, Ong cries a lot. Katara supports and encourages him during this tough time. Ong admits that 100 years ago, his world ended because of him, but he is determined not to repeat the same mistake. He decides to complete the Avatar training. To start the training, Ong learns from Prince Zuko's stolen book that he must awaken the powers of the previous avatars. Their first destination is the Temple of the Quasi-Avatar, located near an island. However, upon reaching the island, its people are hostile and ready to attack and capture them. Suddenly, a bright light shines on Ong from the Quasi's statue on the island. The islanders, surprised by this, bring Ong and his friends to their leader. The leader explains that they don't have bending powers and cannot defend themselves, so they usually don't allow strangers on their island. Ong shares that he wants to learn about the Quasi avatar and awaken his powers as an avatar, and they agree to help him. That night, Zuko arrives at the island following Ong and his companions. He informs the islanders that they are there to capture a criminal. The next day, Ong returns to the Quasi statue. When the light falls on him again, he suddenly enters the world of souls and meets the Quasi avatar. She tells him that the world is in its current state because he didn't receive proper avatar training. If he doesn't train now, the waterbenders area will be destroyed. Quasi shows Ong visions emphasizing the need for him to train alone, away from everyone's support, as relying on others makes the avatar weak. Ong learns that Quasi used her avatar powers to capture his body and help the people in the human world. She discovered that her people were in trouble due to an attack by firebenders. Before, Katara tried to fight Zuko, but because she wasn't trained, she couldn't beat him. Suddenly, Quasi used bending powers from all four elements to send away the firebender soldiers. Everyone got scared and ran away. Quasi then left Ong's body, and Ong returned to his normal state. The villagers thanked Ong for fighting their enemies. After this, Ong went with his friends to the waterbenders area because Quasi had warned him about an impending attack. He decided to learn waterbending to protect the waterbenders. Meanwhile, Zuko faced criticism from his army after Quasi's defeat on the island. One man told Zuko that if he had informed them about the Avatar's meeting, they would have supported him. Zuko asked the man to keep it a secret, but the news reached Zuko's father, the Firebender King. Upon hearing this, the king informed his daughter that Zuko was becoming capable and had found the Avatar. Surprisingly, Zuko's sister wasn't happy about this news. She wanted to become the queen and saw surpassing Zuko as one way to achieve that. While Ong was flying towards the waterbenders area, he encountered another airbender like himself, flying in the air. Ong follows the boy who can fly and arrives in a city where earthbenders live. Earthbenders have the power to control earth, stones, and soil. Ong feels a bit sad when he discovers that the flying child is not an airbender, but the son of a scientist. The boy uses a gadget given by his dad to fly. They meet the scientist who explains that he has created inventions to protect the people from explosions caused by firebenders. He has also made weapons for the king. The scientist's son asks Ong for help because he is an airbender. Meanwhile, the firebenders learn about the flying boy in the earthbender city. Prince Zuko and his uncle decide to go to the earthbender city. In the city, Katara learns about a boy spying for the firebenders. When she follows him with her friend, they get caught by firebenders. Katara quickly defeats them with her friend's help. Meanwhile, Katara's brother and a scientist successfully design a big air balloon. As Ong explores the city, he discovers that the firebenders don't use their own fire, but a special chemical for attacks and explosions. It becomes clear that someone in the city is helping the firebenders. The boy named An, who was part of the attack, tells Ong and Katara about his plan. He reveals that they intend to take the scientist's inventions to the king, turn them into a bomb, and use it to kill the king. Katara, shocked and disappointed, can't believe that the boy she considered a good person has such a dangerous plan. Together with Ong, she decides to save the king. As they attempt to rescue the king, they encounter Zuko, the prince of the firebenders. Ong and Zuko engage in a fight that unintentionally sets the city on fire. Ong uses his airbending skills to try and extinguish the flames. The earthbenders, upon learning about the firebenders' presence, send soldiers to capture him. Zuko's uncle distracts the soldiers by demonstrating his firebending skills, allowing Ong and Zuko to get caught. Meanwhile, one of the firebenders' allies attempts to kill the king with a fire arrow aimed at a box containing a bomb. Katara, using her waterbending skills, extinguishes the arrow and saves the prince. Katara's brother questions the scientist about his actions against the king, and the scientist reveals that the firebenders have threatened to kill his son, forcing him to cooperate. Katara urges Ong to focus on saving himself, and together they decide to go to the palace to rescue Ong. The scientist reveals a secret path to the palace that leads to the jail. Meanwhile, a flashback to 100 years ago shows that Aang had a close friend who was an earthbender. The king of the earthbenders, who was Aang's childhood friend, recognizes him despite aging. In the present, Katara and her brother use the secret path to reach the jail. Along the way, they encounter a mysterious tunnel, and a man advises them to cross it with love. However, their lack of trust in each other leads to confusion in the tunnel. As they navigate through the tunnel, they face a monster. Frightened, they hold hands, and the monster becomes calm. Katara realizes that their love has pacified the creature, and when they ask for a way out, the monster breaks a wall to create an exit. Meanwhile, Aang confronts the angry Earthbender King, who holds Aang responsible for the destruction of their world 100 years ago. The Earthbender King, seeking revenge, attacks Aang with all his earthbending powers. Aang struggles to defend himself, but the king scolds him for thinking like a child and not like an avatar. Aang insists that he is determined to save the world from destruction at any cost and will need the king's help. Surprisingly, the king leaves him with a sense of satisfaction. In another part of the story, Zuko's uncle is being taken to a new jail through the forest. Zuko attacks the Earthbender soldiers along the way, successfully releasing his uncle. A flashback reveals the close relationship between Zuko and his uncle. Despite being punished by his father not to return until finding the Avatar, Zuko's uncle decided to accompany him on his journey. Together, they use their firebending skills to defeat the soldiers. Meanwhile, Aang and Katara set out for the waterbenders. Aang praises Katara for her improved waterbending skills, which she attributes to her grandfather's book. During their journey, they notice a fire in the jungle and investigate, discovering a small village. A man tells Aang about a village where monsters used to make people disappear, and then firebenders destroyed the area. Aang senses energy from another dimension. The scene shifts to Zuko's sister in the Firebender city, discussing finding the Avatar with her dad. Her dad allows her to try, emphasizing that whoever finds the Avatar first will become the king. However, he warns her that Zuko is making fast progress, making her furious. Meanwhile, in the destroyed village where Aang sensed the energy of another dimension, he uses his avatar skills to transport himself and his friends to that dimension. There, they encounter a strange monster that throws them away and screams loudly. In this world, Katara's brother encounters a fox that advises him to help the suffering monster to solve their problems. In the same dimension, Katara sees her mom and wants to approach her, but firebenders attack. Katara's mom hides her to protect her, but she witnesses her mom being burned and killed by the firebenders. These traumatic childhood memories overwhelm Katara, and a new monster appears, imprisoning her in this strange world. In this strange world, Katara's brother experiences unsettling thoughts, hearing his father and uncle talking about him being useless and unable to be a master. These thoughts distress him, and suddenly, the monster that imprisoned Katara also captures him. Aang in this world sees an illusion of his Airbender's temple but quickly realizes it's not real. Focusing intensely, he discovers a monster who reveals that Aang has escaped its illusion as it traps anyone who falls into its snare. The monster recognizes Aang as an avatar and mentions having fought many avatars before. Aang clarifies that he hasn't brought anything and is there to save his friends. A fight ensues between Aang and the monster, but as a soul in this world, Aang struggles to use his powers. Losing to the monster, he finds himself in a house where he encounters his master. Aang, embracing his master, expresses his need for guidance and asks how he can save his friends from the monster. Aang's master explains that the monster imprisons people using their old memories, but avatars are not easily trapped. He recounts a past encounter where a Fire Nation avatar fought against the monster and stole something precious from it. To save his friends, Aang needs to retrieve that precious item. Despite the potential danger of entering the Firebenders area, Aang has no other choice. Quickly returning to the real world from the Soul World, he heads to the Firebenders territory. In the Firebenders area, Aang meets a Firebender who believes in peace among all Firebenders. This friendly Firebender agrees to help Aang and takes him to an avatar temple filled with various items. Aang, unsure of the most crucial item, is interrupted by the arrival of other Firebenders. The friendly firebender assures Ong that he will handle them. As Ong uses his avatar powers to connect with the firebender's avatar, he learns about the statue of the monster's mother. Returning to the real world, Ong picks up the statue, intending to go back to the monster. However, another monster attacks him. Ong is captured by a bounty hunter, hired by Zuko and his uncle to catch the avatar. Despite being in custody, Ong requests time to save his friends before returning. Zuko, however, believes that prioritizing other safety makes them weak. In a flashback, Zuko questions his father's war strategy, expressing concern for their people. His father punishes him for opposing the plan. In the present, Zuko's father sends soldiers demanding the Avatar's surrender. Reluctantly, Zuko hands Ong over to them. Ong is taken to a temple and tied up. During the night, a mysterious person arrives to rescue Ong. A fight ensues between Ong's rescuers and the soldiers. Ong notices that Zuko is among those saving him, expressing surprise and gratitude. Ong acknowledges Zuko's goodness despite being enemies and praises the book about the Avatar. Zuko denies any change in allegiance, asserting that he remains an enemy. He then attacks Ong and a fierce battle ensues between the two. Ong defeats Zuko and sends him away on a boat, promising to meet him later. Ong realizes that Zuko carries deep wounds in both his face and heart. In a flashback, we learn that Zuko's dad punished him for questioning the war strategy and for not being able to kill his own father. Zuko's eye was burnt as a consequence. In the present, Ong encounters Zuko again. Zuko attacks him with fire, but Ong remains unaffected. Another flashback reveals that after Zuko's punishment, his dad ordered him to leave the area with a batch of soldiers until he finds the Avatar. Returning to the present, Ong revisits the burnt village and enters the other dimension. He returns a lost statue to the monster, who in gratitude frees all the imprisoned humans. Ong finds Katara and her brother and witnesses the joyous reunion of the villagers with their lost loved ones. Ong, Katara, and her brother finally reach the Waterbenders area, where the Avatar's presence brings hope to the people facing an imminent attack from the Firebenders. The Waterbenders believe that with the Avatar's help, they can win the battle against the impending threat. In the Firebenders area, Zuko's sister is using her firebending skills to fight with some people. Her dad criticizes her, saying she is slow and useless. Upset by this, she confides in her friends, revealing that her dad's actions are a trap to favor her brother Zuko as the future king. Despite believing she is more capable, she is determined to prove herself. In the Waterbenders area, Ong discusses war strategy with the big waterbenders. He confesses that he feels too young for such responsibilities and still relies on his friends for help. This angers the waterbenders, who criticize him, saying an avatar should be powerful enough to face challenges alone. Ong becomes sad hearing this. Katara, skilled in firebending, learns that women in this area don't participate in war, but use waterbending to improve people's health. She disagrees with this practice. Ong encounters a new avatar who advises him not to repeat their mistake. The new avatar regrets helping people in the world of souls, as it led to a lack of respect. He warns Ong to focus on training and leave his friends behind. In the Waterbenders area, Katara's brother meets a girl with white hair and recognizes her from the world of souls where she appeared as a fox. The girl explains that she was once very sick and her dad sought help from the soul of the moon. With the moon's assistance, they can perform waterbending, and the moon gave her a part of its soul, allowing her to travel between the world of humans and the world of souls. In the Firebenders area, Zuko's sister demonstrates her firebending skills, including the ability to generate electricity from her hands. Her dad is pleased with her abilities. Meanwhile, Firebenders are advancing to attack the Waterbenders area, with an air balloon carrying the Firebenders general. Waterbenders are mentally prepared for war, but they lack a sufficient army to face the Firebenders. Katara suggests that women should participate in the war, and to prove her point, she engages in a waterbending duel with the chief. Her impressive skills demonstrate that women can contribute to the war effort. The scene ends with an impending attack. Ong, Katara, and their friends try to stop the Firebenders' attack, but Zuko's uncle warns the general that it's a full moon night, and waterbenders draw strength from the moon, making them powerful. The general reveals his plan to exploit this, explaining that on such nights, the souls of the moon and the sea converge behind a waterfall. He intends to kill both souls despite the potential consequences. Zuko's uncle objects, fearing the destruction this could cause in both worlds. But the general is determined and heads to the lake to find the soul of the moon. Meanwhile, Zuko arrives to capture Aang, leading to a fight with Katara. Using her waterbending skills, Katara easily captures Zuko. As the fight unfolds, the general begins attacking the soul of the moon. Despite warnings from Zuko's uncle about the soul's immense power, the general persists, intending to weaken the waterbenders by killing the soul of the moon. The moon suddenly turned red. Later, a man used his magical dagger to killing the soul of the moon, and the moon turned black. This made the waterbenders lose their power, and the firebenders became stronger. They started attacking and destroying the waterbenders' area, even breaking their temple. This was the same scene that Quasi showed Aang in his vision. Aang wanted to save the people, but he remembered Quasi's words. Quasi said he should focus on himself and rise his powers. Thinking about this, Aang went into the middle of the sea and gave his soul to the sea. The combination of the Avatar's soul and the sea created a massive monster. It destroyed all the firebender ships. Zuko saw this and went to fight Aang. The general of the firebenders, seeing Zuko alive, got angry because he thought Zuko was killed. They both stopped fighting Aang and started fighting each other. Zuko defeated the general, who then told Zuko about their father's plan. He said Zuko's father wanted to make Zuko's sister the real queen, using Zuko and his sister against each other. The man revealed he was Zuko's enemy because it was also his father's order. After this scene, we see the girl who was kept alive by the soul of the moon in the world of souls. She was talking to Katara's brother. The girl reveals that the moon had given her a piece of its soul, making her alive. Now, the moon needed her, so she gave her soul back to the sea and the moon. The moon came back to life, shining in the sky once again. Despite everything being fine, Aang was still in the form of a monster. The destruction of the waterbenders area made him angry. Katara reassured him, saying, "Aang, you are very good. You are our companion. We are your family. We aren't making you weak. We're your power. Don't waste yourself. The people here need you." Hearing this, Aang's anger cooled down and he emerged from the water as a powerful avatar. Although powerful, he was still sad, feeling responsible for the destruction. His companions reminded him that he didn't cause the destruction. It was the firebenders. He had saved many lives and the world from a great danger. Aang decides to forget the old things and focus on his journey ahead. Katara is going to help him by teaching water and airbending. Meanwhile, Zuko and his uncle are unsure about what to do since they were deceived by their own father and brother. Zuko's dad, upon learning that the firebenders lost to the waterbenders despite causing destruction, pretends to be angry. He tells his people that it was just a trick and he only wanted to get the Avatar's attention. In reality, they had captured the Earthbenders area through Zuko's sister. When asked about Zuko's fate, Zuko's dad dismisses it, saying sometimes they have to sacrifice weak people for bigger things. Zuko's sister is happy after capturing the Earthbenders area. At the end of the story, Zuko's dad informs his companions that a fireball is going to pass over the Earth, enhancing his powers even more. And this is where the story concludes. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Now goodbye.